All right, let's begin. Hello, everyone. Ooh, this is Waikiki. This is it's the land of aloha. 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 Oh, very good. Thank you. Thank you to all my colleagues and associates of the Hawai'i Lodging and Tourism Association for joining us today for a very important announcement. Very happy that our chair of HLTA is here today, Thomas Fody. And of course, the gentleman that we are going to endorse for the governorship of the state of Hawaii. So the order of the program is very simple. I will give some remarks, then I will turn it over to Thomas to formally introduce the Lieutenant Governor, and then we'll do the proverbial photo op on this beautiful day here in Waikiki. We wanted to choose an outdoor setting because, as you all know, this is an opportunity to showcase Waikiki. We're on 2 square miles, a lot of things happen. Not just economic activity, but people who live here, people who work here, and then all of you that do your job day in and day out to make this a great place, not just for our visitors, but for our local people. That being said, we're very pleased today to announce not just an endorsement, but an early endorsement for an individual that we believe deserves to be our next governor of the state of Hawaii, Josh Green. Dr. Green, throughout 2020 and 2021, was that individual that was our so-called go-to person amongst the leaders in government that would meet daily, meet weekly, to decide our fate. And I say our fate because you all know in the industry, 2020 and 2021, we had to strike that balance between complying with health, safety, rules, protocols, and regulations because we're part of the community, but at the same time, much was thrust upon each of you to ensure that our businesses could remain open, that we could take care of our employees. That balance was espoused from day one with Dr. Green, our Lieutenant Governor. He understood what we were going through. And so in our give and take, in discussions that took place, even when something didn't sound quite right that was coming from government, he always reached out, he always had that dialogue with us, even offered great ideas like the hotels for healthcare heroes. It really came from him. We did the Hotel for Heroes program with the Hawaii Tourism Authority and HBCB, which was to honor and pay tribute to all our first responders. But thanks to Dr. Green's insight, he said, you know what? Our healthcare heroes are also those who work at our hospitals, our medical facilities, the health centers. And so why not we, the industry, think about stepping up at that particular time to offer the many staycation opportunities that you did throughout the state of Hawaii. That came from Dr. Green. Now going forward, my friends, we're going to need a leader that's going to understand the importance of the industry, because as you all know, there are those that think that we should be relying less on tourism. We want quality tourism. Dr. Green understands that, and he's prepared to lead that charge with us as our next governor of the state of Hawaii. So I can't think of a better person to give this early endorsement to, an individual that has already proven time and time again he's the leader that we need in government, that collaborates, that listens, and also wants to know more about how he can help us. So I'm very, very pleased now to turn it over to Thomas Fody, our chair, to offer some remarks before we bring up the man of the hour, the gentleman that we are endorsing for governor, Dr. Josh Green. Thomas?
Always a pleasure to speak right after Mufi, as everyone can imagine, right? Just briefly, I want to echo Mufi's sentiments surrounding the amazing guidance that we got from Dr. Green throughout the pandemic and the balance that was created between business and the priority of our health and safety of our population. And so we're so very grateful for that. And it is more than my pleasure to introduce now our current Lieutenant Governor and our future Governor, Dr. Josh.
First, let me just say you guys are fantastic. I want to thank Mufi and Thomas and HLTA thank you for welcoming me here into Waikiki, which is your home, which is our heart of our economy. Just thank you. Thank you for surviving these 2 years. And thank you for being so understanding and thoughtful with your leadership to get us through the pandemic. It's unlike anything we ever dealt with before. You provide so many valuable things, and it's not even just the economy. It's the tradition of education and advocacy from this organization, but also the philanthropy that Mufi mentioned. When we had a lot of doctors and nurses burning out and really in a desperate state, after caring for thousands and thousands of our kahuna who were suffering, who were fairly sick, who were frail, and they themselves were getting sick, you provided a home, respite. You helped sustain their spirit as they cared for us to keep us alive. That philanthropy, that humanitarian approach really got us through, and I can speak on behalf of my physician colleagues and my nursing associates that they value you and they will never forget what you did during this pandemic. So applause for you. Thank you guys for doing that. Mufi also alluded to not just the pandemic that we went through, but the planning we had to undergo in order to make sure we saved Hawaii. The moment in March when we knew that there would have to be some significant pause in travel to the state and travel all across the world, we set our minds immediately to how we would recover. And that was the genesis of the Safe Travels program. I don't know if everyone is fully aware, but there were some contingency plans which would have not allowed us to open all the way for another 8 months. 8 months, that would have been, from an existential standpoint, an impossibility for us in the hotel industry, across all of tourism, and frankly, all of our economy, which would have meant hundreds of thousands of people would have been housing unstable, food insecure, unable to pay their mortgages, unable to take care of their keiki. So what you did, and what we did day in and day out, to actually figure out the right way to balance protecting our kapuna's health and the health of everyone, and protecting our future, is going on day and night between us. So thank you for that. It was fantastic. As we go forward, if I'm elected governor, and we hope and expect that we'll do well with your support, I plan to establish several positions to make sure that tourism is respected within our government. Anyone who thinks that tourism is not going to be central to our economy probably is ahead of the curve on legalization of pakalolo, frankly, at this moment. We have to transition to the new tourism model, we know that, and we are going to give value to people. So we'll put someone in the administration to transition this model sanely and safely, consistent with your values. And your values have always been to put people and their experiences first. We'll implement the visitor education program, which you already are well ahead of. And we're doing so many things with that. It was just incredible to see what you did when people landed here in some kind of limbo because of COVID, not knowing where they could go or how. But they had to have that experience here in Hawaii that they had thought about, planned for probably a decade. So we'll enhance that in my administration. And we'll commit to cracking down on those who are illegally taking advantage of tourism. Those who take advantage of rules on the fringe of travel to Hawaii actually hurt our industry. They hurt the experience, and they sometimes affect communities in a way that's not consistent with our values in Hawaii. So again, we're going to be serious about that, and I want you to know that, speaking right from me, that we will enhance our capacity to give people a great experience here in Waikiki and the other centers of tourism. But in the communities where there are illegal Airbnbs, we're going to be serious. And we're going to be analytical, as I tried to be with the pandemic and COVID. We'll be analytical to do the right thing. But still, your organizations have been amazing for us. They have been the priority to keep our economy going, and I will now pivot as we come through COVID, building housing for our workforce. Many of the people that we've lost in the workforce because they just can't afford housing. So we'll build housing for our people, for our workers, and we'll try to do it near our hotels. I come from Big Island. That's where I started as a physician in the National Health Corps in Ka'u. A lot of my aunties and uncles have to drive an hour from Hilo to be able to afford their house and then live and work, I should say work and produce good results in tourism over on the Kona side. And that's also common here. So we will build housing. That'll be our top priority. We'll address the cost of living in ways that I think people have not seen in some time. I intend to be bold and get rid of the tax on food and medicine, if at all possible, to lower the costs on local families while we see appropriately those who travel to have the experience of a lifetime pay a decent share of the cost for our state as we welcome them as loving friends in tourism. And finally, I'll pledge as governor to work hard every day. I never quit anything. You know I'll take on the other challenges that we have, whether it's housing or building the economy, dealing with the homeless crisis as we build Cal Holiday across the state, help where people who are suffering in our midst here in Waikiki, those who have drug addiction, those who have mental illness. You know we'll be doing that, but we'll do it 24/7 for you because I feel it's an honor to have gotten to serve as Lieutenant Governor and now with this endorsement and support as your governor in just a few months. So thank you so much for welcoming me. It's much love from me and Jamie to you guys because you got us through this pandemic, and now I'm just honored to have your endorsement. You're really terrific.
Okay, so there you have it, folks. On July 19th, the ballots will start dropping in people's homes, mailboxes, what have you. So that's why I think this early endorsement will help spur people to come forward and to support the candidate that we need to have as our next governor of the state of Hawaii. This is coming a lot from me because this guy's a rabid Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So we have constant arguments about the Chiefs and the Steelers. But that being the case, we want to be on the green team, and we want to be on the green team that's going to go win that Super Bowl and be the next governor of the state of Hawaii.